Hey guys, this is the nameless Notre Dame show. I'm TJ Fallon. I'm looking to find a name, but I've kind of decided that this is something I'm gonna do a little bit. It's also I have a lot of free time, and one of my biggest concerns is I watch almost everything the other podcasts and other shows put out, and it just now I can't get enough, and decided, hey, might as well put put a little something out there. Try this and see how it goes. Um, but so this one is Notre Dame versus USC, the battle for the Jeweled Shillelagh. Now, what I'm going to do in this show today is I'm going to break down the Notre Dame USC rivalry, kind of where it ranks in the rivalries in college football, break down the USC team, want to go into what Notre Dame is, what they're good at, what they're not good at, what's their identity if they have one, then keys to the game. And I'm not going to predict it. I really don't have a prediction on the game. It's Notre Dame is such a weird team. So is USC, and there's going to be a lot of people that win money if you bet on games. There's going to be a lot of people who win money and a lot of people who lose money, and no one knows which one is going to win right now. I guarantee it. There is not a whole lot of people who are confident. They might have blind confidence, as hey, I'm picking USC because USC is my team, and there's no way they lose to Notre Dame, or I'm picking Notre Dame because there's no way they lose to Southern Cal when they play such bad defense. And I told myself I'm going to call USC Southern Cal and only Southern Cal. So starting now, USC is Southern Cal. It's their school name is Southern California. So let's break down the rivalry in the series. Notre Dame versus USC. This is their 94th meeting of all time, and getting close to the 100th. The first meeting came in 1926 when Newt Rockne took his team and his wife all the way to California to play them. And Notre Dame came out on top in that one. Notre Dame leads the series 48-37, and there have been 5 ties. Kind of an interesting note when I did a little bit of research. This is like I said earlier, it's a battle for the Jeweled Shillelagh, and that started back in 1952. And Notre Dame leads the series since 1952, 33-30, and there were 3 ties. So it's been a knockdown, drag-out contest since the AP, since the current poll era, which started back in 1936. Notre Dame has 9 national championships. Southern California has 7. So this is 2 of the best teams battling it out. Notre Dame comes into this game 7-3 in their last 10 against Southern California, and they have a 7-game home winning streak. So that's kind of the rivalry. Now, this is, in my opinion, one of the best rivalries in college football in the grand scheme of thing. And when you look at rivalries in total, and I want to make this part quick because I want to break down the game, but if you look at rivalries, there's not that many great non-in-state rivalries. When I think of an in-state rivalry like Alabama, Auburn, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Oregon State, or Kansas, Kansas State, all of them, all the in-state, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Florida, Florida State, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina State, South Carolina State. You can go on and on and on and on and on. The in-state rivalries feel like big brother, little brother. Alabama, Auburn. Alabama's big brother there. Alabama's got 13 national championships in the poll era, and 8 in the last 20 years? So they are big brother. Georgia is big brother to Georgia Tech. And, so when you say, hey, what's the best rivalry, to say an in-state one is rather ridiculous. That's why I can't say Alabama Auburn. So the better ones to me are the one that pins state versus state. Now, number one, and I'm just gonna give you guys what I think the top 5 rivalries in college football is, just real quick, and I'll give you guys a few reasons. I'll go from 5 to 4. Number 4 to me is Georgia versus Florida. They've played 101 times. The cool part about this rivalry is they argue about how many times they've played each other. Georgia says they have played 101 times. Florida says they have played 100. So someone's lying about how many games they played. It's meaningful. It's back and forth. Usually a winner wins the SEC East. Florida's been down a little bit, but when Florida and Georgia are good, that is one of the best rivalries out there. It's bar none. 2 big states duking it out. Then let's go to number 4, Oklahoma, Texas. They have played 119 times. A lot of championships between those two, more from Oklahoma, but there's a reason why the SEC wanted them. Number 3, I think this is where Southern Cal and Notre Dame is. They played 94 times. I mean, they have 15 championships between them since 1936. It means a lot. If it wasn't for Notre Dame, Southern Cal would have probably 3 to 5 more championships throughout their history. And if it wasn't for Southern Cal, Notre Dame would probably have 3 to 5 more championships throughout their history. So that I would love to put that at 1 as a Notre Dame fan, but I do think there's 2 other games that mean more. I should put this one at 2. All right, but number 2 is Michigan, Ohio State. And I know a lot of people, why isn't this number 1? Well, I'm a Notre Dame fan. There's no way I'm going to allow Michigan to be number 1 at anything. But this one, winner wins the Big Ten. Winner goes to the playoffs. They have played 118 times throughout their history. That means something. It's not an in-state duke out, so it's, hey, my state is better than your state. And then number 1, without question, to me, as you can see, I am wearing an Army shirt, even though I cheer for Navy in the game. It is Army-Navy. They've played 123 times. At one point, it used to mean championships, but nowadays, it's just a football game that the whole country watches and just wants a good game, because at the end of it, yes, the players lose, but the country wins, because we get to see the type of leaders that are going to be serving our country and protecting our country. So that's kind of what I think best rivalries are. I just can't go with in-state ones. Let's move on to USC. So like I said, I wanted to break down USC, Notre Dame, and then keys to the game and just get out of here. Southern Cal this season, they are coming into, I've already talked Notre Dame. There we go. 6-0 Southern Cal. Southern Cal is coming into the season 6-0, but they are one of the, let me go full screen here. Boom. There we go. I'll go full screen here. Now, it might be hard to see, but I wanted to break down a little bit of their stats and then their key players, right? Their offense is really good. USC's offense is, they have Caleb Williams, and I know I said I would go break down key players a little later, but when you have a reigning Heisman Trophy winner and a future first-round draft pick, whether he's first, I know a lot of people are saying he's the first overall pick this year or next year. Things happen. There have been locks that are not taken first, but USC averages 51 points a game. They're allowing 27 points a game. Their rushing attack is atrocious. No, not atrocious. I am sorry. This is the top one is total yards. Let's see. They average about 168 yards rushing and 355 yards passing a game. So they have a very, very big offense. I would say I understand they're passing for 355 a game, but rushing for 168 a game is not terrible. It's not. It once you get lower, 150 is a pretty good number. So their average per game is 523 yards, and they've scored 43 touchdowns on the season. Their offense is really good. Their head coach, Lincoln Riley, he is an offensive mind. He's one of the best offensive mind in all of football, not just college football, all of football. I think you could, one of the greatest minds in all of football is Kyle Shanahan, and he does it differently. He's more of a run guy, but he puts his quarterback in the best situation to win. Lincoln Riley on the offensive side of the ball puts his quarterback in the best situation to be successful and to win, in a sense. But if you can take care of the other side of the ball, Lincoln Riley would probably have 2 championships to his name by now. So let's get to the other side of USC. USC's defense, it's not that good. Bad would be an understatement. They're allowing 27 points a game, allowing, let's see, and I'm to this darn attempts, average per attempt. They're allowing 4.2 yards per attempt, 157 rushing yards a game. That's not good. I know I said 168 was what they were rushing a game, which is okay, but allowing 157 as a defense is not good. So it's a catch-22 there. If you're a defensive coordinator, you don't want to allow that many yards rushing. Now they're allowing 264 yards passing. So basically, they're going into every game, and it's becoming a shootout. And they are winning because, hey, they score more points. And I know that's how you win football games. You score one more point than the other team, and you win. But when you are always in a shootout, one time your gun might jam, and you just start firing blanks. All right, let's look at key players for USC. I'm only going to cover the offensive side of the ball. Now, the defensive side of the ball is very simple. All right, let's go defense first. I like doing defense first. It's their D-line. It's Bear Alexander and company. What can they do? That's USC secondary is iffy. USC's linebacker core, they don't know who they want to throw out there on a game basis. Let's see, where is it? Jalen Smith, number 19, leads the team in total tackles. I think he's one of their linebackers. But this is their defense misses a lot of tackles. Their defense allows a lot of yards, whether it's on the ground, whether it's through the air. So what I would say a key player is just, hey, who's going to step up and make a big play? Because every once in a while, someone has to make a big play, and they do. So I don't know what to say about their defense. I know a few of these guys. I watched their games, and it's just like, hey, no one's making stops. So how do you single out a single player? But the ones that are important, that I think is important, is Bear Alexander. He's the big tackle, defensive tackle. Notre Dame struggles with interior defensive linemen, and so the guards and centers have their work cut out for them. Bear Alexander, and the other D tackle, Notre Dame has to neutralize them. All right, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. USC is just defense is so terrible. I needed to do more on their defense, but on offense, obviously they have returning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams and some stud wide receivers. Now, I don't know. Oh, wow. Jan. I don't know if USC's wide receivers are as good as Ohio State. Ohio State's wide receivers are better, but USC, pound for pound, has pretty good talent. Now, Tajay Washington leads the team in receiving yards. Brendan Rice, who is the son of Jerry Rice. And then the most important and most scariest wide receiver they have is Zachariah Branch. Now, if you look at his stats, he has 178 yards receiving. That's nothing compared to the other guys. But when Zachariah Branch catches the ball, he could go out and score. Their tight end, Deuce Robinson's pretty good. He's a true freshman, so is Zachariah Branch. So, but at the end, they have nice weapons. Washington, Rice, Mario Williams, the Oklahoma transfer, he's still there and kicking and doing pretty well. But the scariest one is Zachariah Branch. Deuce Robinson could be a problem for Notre Dame's linebackers and safeties. But the game comes down to Caleb Williams. He is really, really good. And he should be leading the Heisman ballots right now. I don't know what he'll do at the end of the season, but he should be the Heisman favorite right now. So that's USC. Their offense is explosive. It's always going to be explosive. They can run the ball pretty well, and they have Caleb Williams. That's simple. Let's move on to Notre Dame. Notre Dame identity. What is Notre Dame's identity? Do they have an identity? What can Notre Dame do? Is Notre Dame going to buckle and crumble, after their second loss, or are they going to man up and win a rivalry game that means something to the fans, that means something to the players, to the program, to both programs? So when you look at Notre Dame's first 5 games, four games before Ohio State, they scored 40 points a game, 4 games in a row to open the season, something that they haven't done since like 1930. And I get it. Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, and Central Michigan. 3 of those teams are no good, to say the least. One's an FCS opponent, which, regardless of what you think about that, Notre Dame playing an FCS opponent, they did exactly what you were supposed to do to the FCS opponent: beat them up, pay them, get on their way, stay healthy, and they did that. But after that, their offense has sputtered. They want to run the ball, but against Ohio State, they were very successful running the ball for like 185 yards, and against Duke, one big run added to their stats, but they ended up with 150 yards rushing and 44 against Louisville. So on the offensive side of the ball, Notre Dame has no true identity. But when you look at who their best players are, one being Joe Alt, who allowed 2 sacks on Saturday, which is a little frustrating. But when your whole offensive line unit plays bad, I don't think it kills Joe Alt's draft prospects. But also at the same time, you kind of say, hey, what are the chances he comes back now? You'd hope he comes back, but their best players. Let's get on track here. Their best player is Joe Alt, Mitchell Evans, Audric Estime, Chris Tyree, maybe Sam Hartman. So you've got to put them in position to be successful. Use your best players. You can't really scheme an offense to use your left tackle a whole lot, but find ways to use Mitchell Evans. Find ways to get Chris Tyree the ball in space. Heck, if you can do it with Jordan Faison, you could do it with Chris Tyree. So let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. The defense has an identity. They have really good corners, and they play a very advanced scheme for the college level. It's almost like it is an NFL scheme, I think. And they have pretty good pass rush. They're able to keep a quarterback in contain on non-design runs. The design runs, they have trouble fitting them up from time to time. And also, Notre Dame gives up a run here, a run there because they misfit, and they're also in nickel, so they're a little lighter, and they have a big run. So Notre Dame doesn't have an identity on the offensive side of the ball, and defensive side of the ball, it's their corners and experienced D-line and linebackers. So find an identity on offense, play to your identity on defense. I'm going to do keys to the game and final thoughts, and I'm going to get out of here. All right. Keys to the game. Offensive side of the ball. Number one, protect Sam Hartman. Keep him up. Protect him from the pass rush. Protect him in play calling. So the coaches, you got to protect Sam Hartman. And you have to protect him at wide receivers got to get open. So when I say protect Sam Hartman, I'm not just talking about, hey, don't allow him to get sacked. No, I'm talking about protect him. Pass rush, play calling, and getting a run game. Let's go run game. So being able to run. That is how you protect Sam Hartman. Number two, score touchdowns. Notre Dame has to score points to beat USC. Kicking field goals is not gonna let them win this game. And then two, not being able to convert your drives that end up in opponent's territory is not going to allow you to win games either. So, and then number three is staying on the field. Converting on third down is what I mean. Not just milking the clock. I'm not saying Notre Dame should play conservative the whole game. No, what I'm saying is stay on the field because on third down, what they go 3 of 16 against Louisville last week. No, that's not going to work. You have to stay on the field and convert on third down, especially third and shorts. If you're getting negative yard, you're losing yards on third and short, you're having a bad day, or you have a bad game plan for third down. That is the three keys for offense. Protect Sam, score touchdowns, stay on the field. On the defensive side of the ball, stop the run. And I'm going to go bigger or explain a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. I'm a defensive guy, was a defensive backs coach at high school level, and a DC, pass game coordinator. Come on now. So stop the run. Now, why that's my number one is, so last year in the Southern Cal game, Notre Dame was down 2 corners. Cam Hart was out and Tariq Basey was out. So they played a lot more nickel than they were used to last year. Last year they played a lot of nickel, but they decided to protect their corners more than having a good box to not get run. And USC said, hey, you're going to have a light box. We're going to run the ball on you. And they took advantage, and they ran for 200 and I think 55 yards against Notre Dame. So if the corners are good, you got to make US. If your corners are healthy and Harper's going to be back, you got to make USC as one-dimensional as possible. Notre Dame can't stop USC's passing game, completely stop them, but there's a chance Notre Dame could slow down USC's run game. That's number one. Number two, it's very simple. And I drew stars down on this. Stars got to be stars. Stars got to be stars. Hey, Ben Morrison, you're a stud. I'm sad that you're going to see you you're going to leave us after next year to go to the NFL, but you need to make plays. Cam Hart's got to make plays. Harper, he has up and downs. One game he's terrific. The next game he's the only person who really, I wouldn't say torch, Harper had a hard time covering is Emeka Egbuka, and who doesn't have a hard time covering Emeka Egbuka? So your corners, they're three of your best players on the defense. They got to play like stars. Howard Cross the third, need a little bit of pressure. Riley Mills, pressure. J.D. Bertrand, returning team leader in tackles 2 years in a row. Got to play like a star. So that's the key. The stars have got to play like stars. So if Notre Dame could get production from their big-time guys, like Cam Hart's been terrific all year, but getting an interception from Cam Hart would be terrific. Getting an interception from Ben Morrison, getting a sack from Howard Cross, getting a tackle for loss for Riley Mills, J.D. Bertrand having 10 tackles or more, those type of things will help Notre Dame win against USC. Stars got to be stars. Number three, defensive side of the ball. Don't let Caleb kill you. And I'm not talking about Caleb Williams could have a 500-yard passing game and Notre Dame could still win. But what I'm talking about, don't let Caleb Williams kill you, is you line up, you run in the play, and you miss on Caleb Williams, and he scrambles and throws it 80 yards or gets an 80-yard touchdown, and then it keeps happening. Once Caleb Williams is like when he's moving around in the pocket, he's like a streaky three-point shooter, right? Or Steph Curry. When, he makes a guy miss and he starts feeling himself. So he becomes a little more dangerous. I know I'm doing the moves. So he does more and more and more, and it just becomes more and more and more amazing. So it's like Steph Curry. You see him make a three, and then he starts attempting longer ranges, step backs, and all that. So don't let Caleb Williams kill you. You're not going to shut him out or shut him down. You're not going to – I don't think you can make Caleb Williams have a bad game, but don't allow him to make the spectacular plays and the back-breaking plays on third downs, the scrambles, the Heisman moments. You just can't allow that. Can't allow that to happen. All right. And those are the three keys right there. Offense, defense. So, and then last thing I wanted to cover is, the game is gone, is my feelings on the game. I'm not going to put out a prediction right now. I don't know how I feel. I've played it out in my head. I think Notre Dame could win. I think USC could win. I think USC could beat up on Notre Dame and it'd be a blowout. And I think Notre Dame could beat up on USC and it'd be a blowout. But you don't know how a team's going to respond after another, not a heartbreaking loss, but a gut-wrenching loss. That would suffice. A game where you were by far the more talented team and you still lost. Almost like that Ohio State-Purdue game. Gosh, Jeff Brom's so good. So I'm gonna do more research on the game. I'm gonna rewatch last year's game, even though it's two different teams. But I just want to get a feel what Al Golden did that year that allowed USC to run the ball so well, and what Notre Dame did on the offensive side of the ball. I know we have a different OC, but I just wanted to see what was working, what didn't work, and then I want to watch the USC Arizona game again, and I will come up with a prediction show a little bit later. But that's all I got. I'm still searching for a name. If you guys know a good name for a show, I want to cover Notre Dame and college football. I'll do a show tomorrow about the best games in college football and what I think is going to happen, and then do the Notre Dame prediction tomorrow. And then I'll have one on Saturday after the game or before the game. I don't know if I could do one after the game, win or lose. If they win, I'll have one. If they, I'll do a after the game on Monday. I can't do it after I need to watch after the games. So that's all I got. Again, I'm TJ Fallon. Please like this show and let me know what I did well, what I did bad, and give me a few ideas for a name for this show. But I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Have a good night.